give you two examples.
Okay.
So John Smith is a non-resident, so he has a property here in Portugal, and he bought it for 100,000. He's going to sell it for 150,000. He has a nice 50,000 euros of profit. He's going to be taxed and on that profit, and he's going to be taxed at 28%. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So he's going to be taxed. If he sells the property in 2021, he will need to submit a declaration next year between April and June, and he needs to pay the capital gain tax in August of next year. Okay. There's no way out. He can deduct the refurbishments he made to the property. So it's important that if you have a property, you always ask for invoice with your fiscal number, and clearly on the invoice it needs to say where is the property. It's so that the tax office cannot argue that that invoice it's not related to that property. If the builder says, yeah, but I'll charge you less, and I don't issue an invoice, it's your choice, but don't forget that it's better to pay the VAT at 23% and then save 28 when you sell the property, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of people come unstuck that way, don't they? For not and silly things like they don't have their NIF number on the receipt, so it's just completely useless at that point, really. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is the typical. So John Smith, he was a non-resident, so he bought the property for 100. He sold it for 150. He can deduct the agency. He can deduct the cost that he had on the property because he has all the invoices, and then on the net profit, he's going to pay 28%.
Okay.
Then we have another case. We have Claire. She is resident in Portugal, and she bought a property for 100,000 euros, and now she's going to sell it for 150,000. If that property is her main residency, she can reinvest the proceedings of the sale and avoid capital gain tax. So she's going to sell for 150. She has a gain because she never had any refurbishment. She never had any agent. So she really has 50,000 euros of capital gain. But she's going to buy another property. So she's going to move into another town. If she buys the other property for 150,000 euros, which is the same selling price, she's going to pay zero. Okay.
Right.
Because she reinvests the whole amount, and she has 3 years to do this. So if she sells the property in March 2021, she has till March 2024 to reinvest the property. She could also buy the property now and just, as long as it's within 2 years before she sells, she can also use that to reinvest. So let's imagine that you're going to buy another property for 150 now, but you just sell the one that you are living in next year. You could say that you reinvested before you sell.
Okay.
What is important is that the property that you sell to be able to use the reinvestment is your main residency. So you don't change the address to another property before you sell.
Yeah.
So Claire doesn't pay tax because she reinvested 150. If she reinvests less than 150, she will pay the proportion of the tax that she would have to pay on the capital gains. So another option, if Claire doesn't reinvest, so she bought for 100,000, she sold for 150, she has 50,000 euros of gain. The way it's calculated, because she's resident in Portugal, is that only 50% of the tax will be, of the gain will be taxed. So she will always pay less tax, okay? Because only 25,000 will go into her tax declaration, and then she'll have her tax allowances, tax deductions, and the maximum rate she would pay would be something like 37 if she has a lot of income. She would pay something like 37% of tax, but just on 25,000. So it will be a lot less than 28 of the whole amount. Last but not least, if Claire bought for 100,000, she sells for 150 because she's going to live in Holland. She can reinvest the amount on another EU country. So it's not only in Portugal. You can reinvest into a new property in EU. Obviously, at the moment, you can no longer reinvest in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it has to be a habitation, doesn't it, as well? It cannot be a piece of land or something, for example. It has to be an actual habitable or something with habitation, I think. Is that right?
If you buy the plot and build it, you can use the full price as a new home. But if you buy a ruin, which is already existing, and you're going to do some works, the only thing that will count for the reinvestment is the price that you spent on the ruin. Okay? So you buy a ruin for 100,000 and you spend 50,000 euros on works. For the reinvestment purposes, it's only 100,000 that counts. If you buy a plot, brand new plot, with no house and build a house there, you can use the full amount as the reinvestment.